Hello, this is Gerald Johan van Waas and the educational channel in support of the book Sound in Form, which has a theory that is developed in the development of the word and which has some extensions in the application of the word. The theory is explaining the letter combinations. It also says that there is a natural system, and I will say that it is a kind of system that is as natural as numbers are. It is also somewhat in between numbers as well. The formations from one number to the other to the next number also has a form of adaptation from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, and so on. There are adaptations, and the letters, they fit in between these numbers, and the way how they fit is a system, and this system is a system that is also used as a reference point for more distinctions. That is actually the way how things are working when we use distinctions, and distinctions, these are the letters themselves as well. We use the letters as distinctions. All these letters have their own specific orientations in a certain time and space frame, and with a specific position, and they form themselves within this system. And this is what I will, for the first time, I will also talk about this system itself, which is based upon the Pythagorean system of letters that are connected with numbers. But I developed it a little bit further, and I also saw that these letters are not just numbers that fit with them. They are actually an evolution. It's like a string indeed, like from that goes from 0 to, let's say, 9, and all the variations in between, and the variation in between have points of change and of connections. I will tell you a little bit about it in this video. I was going to talk about the letter combination of K and L. They're not so far apart in the numerical system, so that's a good idea that I will also explain how they evolve into each other, how they influence each other, how you can see how this works. So this video channel in general will show you mostly demonstrations how letters are formed in their combinations. But here specifically I will say how the evolution of letters will go into a formation process in the combination of the letter K and L. But first, the introduction. So the whole system is not simply based upon numbers that are compared with letters. Now it goes much further than that. Although every letter has a number in the Pythagorean system, like the A, T and K all have the number 1. For me, it's not just that. They have the number 1 for some reasons, and I will tell you how they hang together. They hang together in a more 4-dimensional system, which I will start to explain in this video. How we normally perceive reality, let's say physical reality, because that's where we focus upon, is a 3-dimensional frame that we give it, and all the points of reference that we see there, that we use there, they are random points in space. In the letters it's different. In the words it's different, because there will not be random points, but we are chosen out points as reference points that are relevant at that moment. So the connection points start from a moment of relevance, how they hang together. And that makes it a little bit more different. I will explain in just a minute. But first, about the first 6 letters, I will explain a little bit better now. So there is also an evolution, as I said. It's just not all the number 1. These 3 first letters and the next 3 are not just the number 2, as it is traditionally remembered and achieved and worked out. No, the A is forming itself a certain 1, a certain foundation, let's say, for the number 1. Once it has achieved that, we have the true value of 1, which is then the distinction itself, the T. If we try to do something with it and see how far it goes, how it hangs to connected, it will increase the number 1, and gradually it will has to find the number 2, which it will do in the letter U, which is a little bit less than 2. The L, which has found the number 2 in its increasing point, and the B will of course also be more than 2. That's somewhat like the strings. You go from the string from 1 to 2 to 3, and it gradually is a little bit less, a little bit more than 1 or 2, of course, when you have 6 points of reference. Until here, I think that's quite logic. And the reference point of reality is not like that. It is, what do I also have to explain there is that there are more than 3 dimensions. We also deal with time. And how do we deal with this random space that we are looking references to without a specific moment that I said there that was relevant, with all the moments together that could be relevant, with all the points of reference that could be relevant, so anything, so with an indefinite amount of irrelevant points, let's say. How does time fit there? Time is then perceived as something mysterious. It's a linear time frame. It goes from one point to the next, and we are somewhere there at this moment. If it's not a relevant point in time and space, it is an irrelevant random point in seemingly random point where we are, and we can also make random connections. That's how we perceive reality. Different for words, for our choice of words. So what we really need is a moment of relevance that makes it so that we have a reference point that we can start from, that has a certain limit, and that is also connecting forward, and this within a fixed frame, how it hangs together. So everything will, in our logic, in our using of logic, in our combining letters as well, should be fixed frames with a direction that is also fixed, and also each letter here also there are just points of reference. These first 3 points of reference, the A, the T and the K, are just points. We only need one center, but these centers are also at a specific point. They are not random. The point of the horizontal frame that we have there, the first point, the first center point that we achieve, that we receive, that we use, is always exactly in the middle, nowhere else. It's not a random point. It should be our middle, our starting point. Once we extend this to a usage that we will use into the within the frame, so let's say within the 3-dimensional frame of space, and we point there a point where what we extended, this extended point will not be at a random place. It will be exactly somewhere at 2/3 in the middle. It's in the middle of the material, let's say. It's always at a specific point. The same for the last, the largest extensions that you can have, it's always at the edges exactly there. If you put these 3 points together and you connect them, they also make a fixed frame that has one line in between them that is straight and straightforward. That is the reference point for the first dimensional frame that you have there, the coordinates that for these 3 points. And there we can go further from there to extend this. And this is here we will connect to the larger system. So what we could think, like if we don't have all the moments in space and something is about to change, we will need a time frame for it, that we say like, okay, I don't have this at this moment, at this point, I need time for it, I need some time for it, I will get there sooner or later. It's the plus dimension, it's the time frame, it's like, let's say, it's the 4th dimension of time as well. We will come to it some time or another. This is one of the options that is meant for the extensions, that we go from a spatial frame to a larger frame. So the first 3 letters are focusing from a center focus of attention. This is very important, but the last letter, the K, the H, you can't go further, will try to find the extension without necessarily going towards the 4th dimension and extending it into a time frame and say, okay, maybe sooner or later I will get there. But it's one of the options. One of the options is if we extend a spatial frame from here, you can have a couple of options. You can say like, okay, maybe sooner or later I will get there. I don't have it yet, but maybe sometime I will get there. Or when I extend the time frame as I have, maybe I can continue to use the same frame and continue further and extend it and so on. When I extend something, it's either can be added or it doesn't fit. So I have in fact 3 options in this frame, which is, it's not there yet, but sooner or later I will get there, or I have it, I don't have it. See, these are the 3 options that are necessary to use in our mind system to go to an extension from here. And this is very important for the extensions. Here will mean that for the harmonic match to extend the point, the balanced fixed point to a next balanced point, I need to deal with these 3 options that maybe I will achieve it at some day or another, or I am already receiving it, or I will not receive it, or I will even exclude it. So late, I have something later, I have something now, yes, or I don't have it. So these 3 options are important. And behind that is the idea of the general time frame that we want, of course, a continuation just like in our logic. It's one of the goals. And the thing that we can say, yes, I have it and I add it and I keep it and I want to add it as well. It is also part of the distinction of the elements. You can add more elements, and it keeps all these elements together, and I keep a distinction to it because I keep all the elements together in my logic as well. If it's not possible, there will be with the things that are excluded, there is a gravity pull there that makes it so that you will certainly sense it, that it's not that you cannot edit. This gravity pull is an idea which I will explain somewhere else, but this is actually a side effect. If I don't include it or can't include it, there will be a gravity pull that makes it heavier to really realize. It will no longer keep yourself together, it will break apart. You will have a gravity that will break these things apart. So what will be the three choices? Because the K is actually the point of a choice, that where can I go from here, from the fixed point to the non-fixed point. So what I will have a choice to make from there to extend my thoughts and elements. And the three kind of choices that you have are also the three arrows that I have here of this later, this yes or no. What will be my next focus? Either I will follow what does not work, the of course, what is of course, of course. Then, or I will stick to what I know, I will add even the same elements again and again, or I will say like, okay, I will get it later, sooner or later, and I'm sure about it, and I will even count on it that I will add it sometime or another. It will get you to a delay. So the higher dimensions, people always think like, oh, they are higher, so they will be superior. No, if once you need these higher dimensions, it also means that you will add time, you will add delay. So in fact, it's preferably to avoid as much as you can these higher dimensions. They will be useful at some times when you don't have a solution, but they're not useful if it doesn't keep you in balance. The balance is in the three-dimensional frame, not in the higher dimensions. If once you need time, once you need more time for it, maybe it is necessary, but it's a delay as well. So it's to avoid. So let's see what happens with the mindset of the K. What are my choices from here? So my first choice is like, okay, I will focus on what does not work, and I want to get rid of it, and I want to do something with it that I really get rid of it, and my complete focus is on this. This is the idea of the right-wing politics. At some points they focus completely on what does not work and try to get rid of it. Now, if I put the same frame and I indeed put it into the right order, so I will add it there, so that will follow the arrow of the downward movement. Then from the K to and further on, if I do from the K to the K, let's say, if I double it, but I follow the downward path. The no will I follow what does not work, and I will follow the downfall then, so to see what will not fit and what will be unfit. I will also break there the moment, the green arrow there, the logic that keeps everything hanging together, the continuation of the elements. A, T, K was in the continuation, so I prefer to go further from there. If I break the continuation there, my logic of the elements that hang well together will be broken as well. There will be a certain delay, and in the end I will succeed to that all the unfit will fall, including what I fail to do, of course, because I don't have the right logic anymore to simply follow this path alone. Then another option is like, oh no, let's follow the logic of the following order, T, E, K, so the logic of the order of letters, which I had in the one-dimensional reference points. I will follow the whole order of reference points, and I will continue from there, then the K, and so on, so on, so on. And I will develop all the letters from there, and I will just continue my thoughts that I had. I have my center thoughts that I have, and I will continue everything that I did before. I know what I'm doing, so I will continue endlessly for what I'm doing. Even if I reach the limits with K, the limits of what I understand of what I do, I will still continue from there. I will follow the yes. The yes. Yes is much better than the no. I will follow it. And the yes will also mean if I only follow the yes, I will not have adaptations. I will not have changes, because that was the no. The no are the changes. Here the no are what should have told me what there needed to be changed. Here I follow only what does not need to be changed, and I keep it all of it. I continue my logic. I continue everything that I think is wonderful. So what will be the end result? As you can see, the A is if you use the numbers, but that's another in another moment I have to explain it a little bit better. The size of A is 1, the size from A to T is 1, but the size from the center point of vision to K is larger than 1, so I can't reach this point with the same reference points again, so I will lose it a little bit. So my continuity will be broken anyhow. So if I continue from a center point of vision in my evolution of elements that I gather, there's no other option than this yes will be broken. There will be no continuation in just the positive way of continuing. It doesn't work like that. Okay, let's see the next option. So we had 3 options. Either we would go for the no, which means that we will focus on what does not work, or we'll go for the yes, we'll focus on what works, or the third option is let's focus on what the moment gives. What our moments are giving. Is the moment in our favor? Is time with us? In the focus where you have to make choices, where something is not working and you have to make choice between yes and no or the future, and you choose for the future or the time frame, so you choose to go for that option. It will also have certain consequences and in this logic, and this logic is when I put the next frame there, and I will continue the K, the point of K, with the time frame that to follow, so I'll add that frame there, then the time frame will also be doubled, so I have 2 options. So in the time frame, so maybe this future will not go into my direction as I thought it would, because I have 2 options in the time frame. What will be also visible is that the things that will weigh down will be in another time, in the next moment they will come back. So what will weigh down will be like a confrontation. There will be a confrontation that will be brought in time. So when I have my focus on time, the results with the unfit will be very direct. And that is actually quite funny, because if I have these 2 frames on each other and I'll read the letters, there's a word that fits with this quite well. And this is the word attack. So I have here the A, the T, and once again the T, and then again the A, and then the K. I have here the word attack, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So I will put a frame in time, and I will focus on this time frame and I will try to have an outcome in my favor. What will be is that we never know in whose favor it will be, but there will be a downfall. That is a downfall of something. It will be of our time frame or the other one's time frame, we don't know, but the attack is using this frame. Okay, this was maybe a little bit difficult, but I had to use this idea of the breaking point of K. I had to explain it quite detailed because we always will deal with these options of the yes and the no, and also will put it onto a time frame. This is a four-dimensional time frame that we use for all the letters and that we will use. So in this case, for the K, I just have to remember it in more simple way as this. So I have the K, I have two options. Something will be yes, something will be no, and the combination of this will bring us forward. If I emphasize a little bit too much on the yes, on the no, you saw it before, the options will not be a harmonious outcome. There will be a certain imbalance, in either way an imbalance that will not bring you further into a position that everything can grow further and increase in hanging together into a balance. And the balance is something which is in the system as a preference. It is possible with the K to break that balance, and that's where it's used for as well with this letter K, like with the word attack, as you could hear. But it's good to know how the balance is kept, and I will continue from here in a balanced way. So here K is just like an option, but also a question with some choices, and preferably the choices will be in balance between the yeses and the nos. That will work so that I will have a continuation. If I have a good balance between these three elements, what works and does not work, and I understand this, I have the continuation. That will fit with the letter C, which is the next level of the K, actually in a higher level of context. But here I have, of course, the yeses and the nos. So the yes will be focusing upon, if I use it in balance, the yes will be the part that will make sure that I will have a continuation with it, maybe via a certain adaptation. So if I adapt it a little bit or make a selection somewhat, it will work, and the yes will also make a continuation. The no will be also dominant, but if I do this in balance with some adaptation, I will break apart what I need to break apart. What doesn't work together, I just leave it alone, and then I can have a continuation. So the best thing is to do with the K if I have a balance between the yes and no, although it has options in all directions. But let's see it now from a balanced way of view. The K is also used as a sound in different letters. So we will have the Q as well. So we will have a focus that works in the element and make a balance. And we simply exclude what does not work in its preferable way with the K. Or we will select what will be can have a continuation. All in the C. All this is rooted in this optional choice of K. So we will have, so K is also a lot about the starting point of consciousness of choices. All these two words are with the C. But that's the direction we will go. So what can we grow in consciousness that will make it work all the time? So what are the steps that you can take in the K in a conscious way? I will explain you. I will say it is so you can also see it spiritually, but it is actually also has physical and logical consequences what you do there. So what is the K? We will start with yes or no. Another way to say that is what is within our reach and what is out of reach. And I will go from here to add steps in consciousness and in practicality. So, of course, we started from one centered point of thinking, also with the K. And what we prefer is, of course, from the one centered point, a yes. Yes, what is within our reach? What is not within our reach? If we reach something and we don't understand it fully, that is the no. And we don't know what it is. It's for us at that first stage when we experience it, it is just something else. It's the other thing. It's out of reach. We don't have no clue what it is. Potentially, it still says that some adaptation should be possible. So this position of potentially we might be able to do something with it sooner or later is a position that you also take at that point. But we come, of course, from ATK. So A is what is within my reach from my center point of vision. The T is this is my reach. This is my what I know. This is what I can have a distinction here. Or it is with K. This is the reach that I can have. These are the three parts and the three levels of the one-dimensional focus of one point, and this is the whole reference frame within the space and time frame of logic that is followed there. So we already have the own center and the other things, the yes and the no, within reach and outside of reach. I will continue from there. This we can also keep ourselves to ourselves. We only know ourselves. So we can also say like, okay, what we don't know, what is not reachable, keep it unreachable. Let's stick it to what is reachable from what we know. So in that way, we will make a distinction from K to distinctive, what is different, to keep and what not to keep. That's already the next level. Or to keep in and to keep out. What we have to, so everything which is too different, we shall still exclude, and we also recognize what to keep. Actually, we already at the next level. Once we know that this is an inner, we can use an inner vision to distinctive what is inside and what we have and what we don't have, what is just the outside. This whole position in a balance, this is already the next letter, that is the U. This is the center point really in the two distinctions completely. While the K is in between 1 and 2, it means we try to make a distinction between two different things, but we're still looking for the balance. What's the balance? What will we choose? From U, we have the choice. We know the choice. There's something inside, and this choice will be made from inside. It's the center of it's back into the center of ourselves, but this is no longer a center of one point, but of 2 points. We make a difference. We make a distinction from our own position, and from also if we have are the edges as well. So this is the letter B. So the U is in the center point, in the double center point. The double edge point there is also looking inside. Also this balance, which is at the edges of what you can reach. It also means from within. From our own center point of view, we can reach our limits, but the limits are reached from inside. It doesn't matter what happens outside, we can make a balance from inside out. That's the letter B. Let's put now the focuses of the first 3 letters and the next 3 letters next to each other. So we started from the A. This is our center point of vision, a centered approach, a central vision. The A varies in size, but once we have the size, this is 1, it's the same size as T in the vertical way. So this is the size, it will become our norm of distinction. If we project it outwardly and see it from the central point of vision, the size doesn't match. So okay, we reached our limit, the size doesn't match, so we have to find another solution, because we can't have a central vision from there and continue that what we already saw. So the value of limits of k will be larger than 1, and if we want to keep control of everything, we have to split our vision into these options. A certain part has to be left in, another part has to be left out. As soon as we know the balance between these yeses and nos, we have a central control, because we know what fits and what does not fit, and that's the next level, the next letter, the letter U. Here also we can make a distinction. If we have, so the U seen from our first center point of a control system is a different point than if we take the order T, R and K. By the way, tak, I also explained in my book, it is that I found it very strange that it is the word yes in Polish. Yes is also like with the 3 times 1, it's the smallest number that you can have to express something, which I found it very strange that it is connected with the certainty of the yes in the Polish word. But here also it is the continuation of logic onto the time frame. The T, the A and the K is still, I can understand why it is used as a yes. There the system starts from T to A to K, and then the next one will be the U as a continuation of elements there. The point in is also split into 2 to make a distinction between all the elements. There's no other way than splitting it into 2. I also make a difference between U and U, as you can already see expressed there, but I will not go deeper into it right now. But I will make the bigger frame now. So I have here a balance in 1 center. The K will be compensating for the lack of hanging together, and it will immediately find a solution to go towards the next level, and it will fit into the numbers. If you would calculate this, it will fit into the numbers that you can go from 1 to 2. It will fit into each other. They will find a balance in 2 centers. And if you continue from there, of course, you will have a balance from 3 letters within 1 center, and a balance from 2 centers with each time two centers in the U, the L, and the B, of which one part will be something included and the other part will be something excluded. But that's something I will not go deeper into it. I will go to a different focus, that you understand how you can understand the vision from 2 centers. How do you see 2 centers? How does that work? There's a focus in 2 centers here with U, L and B. Depending on where these centers are, our adaptations will be different. Let's give an example. With the U, our center was back inside, and we had a distinction between to know what was outside and to know what was inside. Mainly it went back in to the own center, so it's focusing mainly on the inside. And if you double it and whatever, you can also understand and how you can work with it in a way from the outside and inside. Some part of it will be complete and some other part will be incomplete because there's a balance between this inside and outside, going pushing outward, pushing inward. There will be a certain imbalance, and it is trying to make it balance somewhat. And that is what actually the U is. It's trying to make something complete from within, but it is not in perfect balance. It is growing, it is adapting, and this is the stage what it is. It is adapting to what is outside, to what is inside. It is this incomplete stage which is meaningful in the U. Everything which is incomplete in its growing process is expressed here. The next letter, the L, is there. The doubling of the center focus is larger, and it's in that way larger that it's also quite well in balance. So if you double also this frame to see where it goes to from outside and inside, actually it's quite well balanced. So you have, it's not like in the inner center that it is in the that you don't really see how well we have to adapt here. You know exactly how to adapt outwardly, inwardly. It's a very good balance, inside, outside. It's easy to keep in balance, and this balanced views allows you to multiply well, and to multiply so well that you can also have a balance between the elements inside and outside, and extend it to that you can have more form. You add more form to it, you have more expression to it, and that's what the L is about. The B at the end, that's the focus with the double focus at the outside. Here it will also be more focused on the outside movement, the extension, the extending, and you have a kind of effect of bouncing towards the outwardly. It is actually very well confronting with everything which is outside. It's still going from inside, but it's mainly about extension from within. So that's all the association that you can use. We will not use it in this video because I was going to talk about K and L, and finally we are where we should be. So how shall I combine the K and the L? So we had already the L. It is a very good balance of the doubling center, so we will have a balance between all the elements, and the elements will be very clear. That's the advantage of the L. The K is the choice. We have a choice for a distinction, and it's an open choice. We don't know where what we will get. We don't know beforehand what the choices will be, but the L will help us because it will help us to differentiate the elements. So the K itself will be between yes, the no, and the useful middle. Don't know how well it will be balanced, but the L will make it clarified, will make a distinction. So I'll have these two frames, puzzle frames, to help me to make a distinction between the elements, to make it different, between the yes and no situation, and try to keep a balance there as well. So these are helpful frames that will help me to form all the words with K and L together. And there will be, of course, too many differences possible, and I have here more or less it will be the same thing. So there will be a distinction, and there will be something that keeps it hanging together. How well it hangs together, how well it will be distinct, how well I can distinctive these things, how well I have these elements together. It's all in certain variations. There's no other options, but as you can see, the structure more or less is the same. If I would use a structure which would be completely fixed, that I have always just one option, always have a well hanging together structure, it's more fitting with the C than with the K. With the K, there still is the option of how well it hangs together or how well it will not hang together. The amount of elements with the C will be the same, but it will be a different structure. But I will use the K and the L. It will be more difficult maybe than with the C and the L, or with more variations possible, but I will go for it. So I'll use just one example here, the K and the L. Just when I distinctive the elements, I put them into a row. I have here the word Klang, or the German word for sound. This is just an example. Then I will see the elements of variations that I have, and I can put them, thanks to the L, better together into frames of visualization and so on. So I have the sound, I can have all the variations of sound that can come out of it. The kl with O together will of course more focus on the O, the large space, environment, even time frame it will be. So here, of course, in these options of time frame, yes or no, I will have the starting point, the context of the time frame where the yes and no's will be chosen. It's almost logical that this will be having a context that is a little bit temporal, so it is a moment where they have this distinction. And I will have a word with a C in it, so it will be the word clown. I have the kl, I have the O, I have the N, which will be elements that are into another frame. The W, as you can see, the N inside it, and here and with the C you have of course more distinction between the elements, and I can play with it. I have some variations possible, so I'll use it here. The N in the end is this, I make a hat from it, as you can see. The W is at the end, is the form there, the loose waves where there are elements in, like the N should be elements that are visible there. There are some variations possible, but it would be very easy to form the word clown in it. Okay, maybe you can think it is a fantasy, but these are variations possible with combinations of letters, not more than that. It's playful, it's playful, nothing more than that. Let's go to the next word, klont. So if I use the kl and the O, and then I also can easily understand what is the frame that is limited in within. And klonter is klot. This both words are referring to klot, more or less. You can, and the R is the interconnecting connections of as you can see there. I will not explain it here. I have explained R more than once. But what you have here in klont is this. So you have this contemporary moment and this distinction of something is a part is yes, a part is no, and the T is a position. So you have at the end a position, a distinction somewhere in the frame, in the environment, in a space, in a frame of sometimes it could be a time frame as well. I also have the word klont, klontje in Dutch, which is actually a sugar cube, which is actually a very different word than a klont. But also here the kl is the breaking point. Goes to the L. I have here the L, the double space of a volume, the O and the N, so the N has to go inside another frame. It fits. It is a fitting thing. If you start to build it up in the matching letters, you can still recognize it. But let's go to the next word. I have also the word clock. So I have kl and O, or you have lo, also the L inside the O, and then the K at the end. So at the end I have these options. So two options that actually are with the K again, clicking towards each other, or breaking apart to again. So here I don't know how many times that I have to break it. It's the K is breaking, the last K is breaking as well. So if I make a couple of options, the O and the K, I can have some variations that I only can try to experience what is going on. The O can be a process, it can be an environment, these kind of things, and it is breaking apart. Of course, it could be breaking apart in a time frame, but it doesn't say that necessary. It's just if we only take the breaking apart of the K with the low and then the K, I can have some variations of forms. As you can see there, it still fits how we know that is the clock, because the clock is a clock, as a frame that breaks apart in certain differentiations. But I will investigate it further. If I just take the K, the Lo and the K together, I have some variations of that they click in each other. They can fit well in each other, but it's only when I really make a distinction of these L separately that I know that there are two breaking moments that are not following the same size is there visible as well. I will, it's more easy in the next frame. The clock itself is like the clicking in each other, you can recognize, but the first K breaking point and the next breaking point, they are somewhat with a distance to each other. There's a difference on the inside or the outside, or there are variations there, so that in a way, if you have a clock, it's the clicking in each other of two different rhythms, as you can say the rhythm on the O, as you can see, there are two different rhythms in there, and that is how we perceive the clock. The clock is not just one rhythm. We can see one rhythm. It does exist, the clock, with just one they call that again, just one, only the hour, as you can say, but we have the hour and the minute in which we distinctive, and thanks to this distinction between the two, distinction or K, in O, in an environment or in a circle or in a time frame even, then we can make the distinction possible and visible via the L. Let's go to the next word. Now we use this yes and no frame. So we have the A is a frame of into the space frame, so we know what we have. We have a full object in space that we mostly associate with the A to understand it well. So the kla is our starting point, and klas, the S, will be the effect that we'll have at the end. So we will have a distinction between an object that we make a distinction with because of its effect that it can have. Class is translated to English is classroom, and we also have the word class without a room, class with a double S. In Dutch it's also a difference between klas and klasse with one S and double S. This double S has also another effect, so this S means an effect. So distinctive, something in a room or in a space or as a frame, and see that it has a distinction. That's the class or classroom. The double S actually says no, we focus upon the effect of what the effect of an effect. So it gives an effect by making something distinctive from in space, a classroom. But if we make a distinction from a distinction because because of the effect of it, then it is more about the class difference, the class differences. We see it that it is different because of the effect, not because it makes an effect and makes a difference because of this effect, because it has an effect. That's the difference between one S and a double S, as you can, that creates a different effect. Believe it or not, I will give you more examples. Kla, again, the klak, there's a K in the yes and no version, is the klak or clicking, but it still fits also with the cap, that is also as a klak in Flemish dialect. Klak is a cap in that form, actually, so just in the way as klak, so it's click clack. You have this yes no part that breaks out as a ka, as the ka, white, black, in, out. That part in A is visible and is visualized there. With the I, I have the I is the large connection that inserted from in the large full frame that we have. If we just add the kli or klim in there with all the materializing steps that you have there. This is klim, means climb, dus climbing. You can even follow it up and in the frame there, so it is something that is the connection can be understood with it. I don't know if it's a good presentation, but it can be understood because of this. Klei or klem is also a word that can be understood here via the frames. And on the last one with klei, it's kleren or clothes. So the R are the connection points, and the N is something that is inserted, mostly a content that is inserted. If you look it up into my theory, it also says that it is inserted in a certain time, so not immediately, so only after a while. And if you have the yes and no, so it is inserted or it is already inserted in it. So we have the two options that you can see. It's inserted in at the connection points of, or it is already inserted in it. So the yes and no is there. And if you compare it with clothes, actually clothes, I didn't realize that beforehand, but the clothes are actually very well described with something that has connection points where you put something in. So you put your body into it. That is actually in all the parts of the clothes. There are connection parts where you can put something in, and that's actually a very good definition of clothes. I didn't see it like that beforehand, but that's what the letter combination is expressing. And this expression is actually expressing very well what clothes are. As a form, you can see connection points, and all these connection points together are like tools where you can put something in, or where something is already in it. That's the actual description of kleren or clothes. Most of the letters, words with K are you can find in Dutch, because in English they usually use the C and not the K's like it. K has this option of yes and no, and you don't have so many words with K, but the sound is the same. You have clay here, as you say, and klein or small. Also an expression of it which is recognizable. Will not explain it now, but then the last one I will explain a bit better. I have klink, or the handle and the latch, and this one is again the first K and the last K. There could be an interconnection. I have here the K and the L in the first example here. It's how we try to keep it together and make a distinction from one option to the other option. As you can see here, the kle. It's a very good expression of it. Here with the klink, it fits also. If I could even have the two K's, as you can see, in balance. I can have the K breaking in one direction, as in one dimension can be done as well. But there are always these two options. But the K, the one option up and the option at the other side, can also work together, because as you can see, the in is the insertion that can work it together, as you can see. And what is the klink handle latch? Will it match? I will try it even better. So I have the kl here, so the k, the l, the in, the k. So the in is the insertion, of course. The e is can be up and down. It can be in two directions, but it is an insertion of something new, of something extra, as you can see. And the n is the part that is within a frame, so a small part within a frame. So if I add them together, I have this form. And I thought by myself, it only looks partly like a handle, so I didn't like it so much, the result, because I thought, okay, maybe only half of it fits well. But then I looked up the word on the internet as for images, and I didn't realize that. But the klink, there are two kind of klinks. I only thought of the second example, which only fitted half of it, so I didn't. That's why I didn't like it so much. But if I look at both forms and see how they click also together, it's not just the clicking into each other, it's also insertion into each other, so it inserts also somewhere. That's actually a pretty good description, better than I thought. Okay, sorry that this video was extremely long and also extremely difficult compared to other videos, but I still hope you enjoyed. I wanted to give you something of the background, what is working in the background, as in a full frame of what is forming itself into the connections it makes, all of these layers at the same time. I said, okay, maybe just one time I will give you something of a larger picture. Of course, it made everything more difficult, but I hope you still enjoyed, and I hope I explained the details well enough. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.